This lecture will cover Python dictionaries. We start quickly by creating a person's dictionary. I've created a dictionary here. As you notice, the syntax persons equals open curly brace, close curly brace. And the important thing is that a dictionary has key value pairs, meaning this is a key, 2 is a key, 3 is a key, 4 is a key, 5 is a key, and they must be unique. We won't go into the theory of dictionaries. This video only covers how to use dictionaries in Python. So if you want to retrieve a value in a dictionary, we can run it and see what happens. So we print the persons, and as you can see, we get the dictionary. However, that's not really what we want. Instead, we want to print the name and the name only. Well, no, let's print, yes. So we print persons, and we want to print the person with key 3, and we run it, and it's Joe Smith as expected. Why? Because Joe Smith has a key value of 3. Now if we want to check if a certain ID or key is in the list, then we do if persons ID. Well, here instead we'll do if key 6 in persons, we print persons of 6, else we print not found. We run this piece of code, and as expected, that key is not found. We can add elements to the list. In this case, we can do persons and then the key 6 equals, provide a value, and the value will be Eric Smith, and then we print persons with key of 6, and we run this piece of code, and as expected, persons at key 6 is Eric Smith. Although these keys are unique, they don't have to be unique, but they have to be, they don't have to be in order, but they have to be unique. We can delete an element from the list by sending the key, and then we can get the length of the dictionary collection by using the length or the len function. We run this piece of code, and as expected, we add Eric Smith. The data collection count is 6. However, we delete key 6, and now the dictionary collection is 5. We can also have a dictionary with different data types. For example, we can create a dictionary of student IDs, well, maybe not IDs, student or free throw. No, that's not good. How about exam grades? We provide a dictionary, open curly brace, close curly brace, and then we can provide a key. In this case, the key is Larry. And then, since a dictionary can accept mixed data types, we can send a list. In this case, the list has grades. Thus, Larry has a grade of 90, 80, and 100 in the list. And we can print, well, let's add another one. Let's add Joe Key, and he has grades of 70, 75, and 100. And we can print the exam grades with key Joe, and it displays, let's run it one more time. It displays 70, 75, and 100 as expected. However, it prints it into a list format. We'll address this later. The important thing here is that you can add a list. Python is flexible enough to allow us to enter any data type we want. For example, text, and numbers, and it should be okay with Python because we can mix data types. We have an integer, we have a string, and we have lists. The Python language is flexible enough to allow us to do that. Now, if we want to work with a new dictionary, in this case we create a student's dictionary, an empty one, open, close, curly brace, and we paste some code in, and here we have a student dictionary, and we proceed to add a student class. So student, okay, let's copy some code over, student, and we bring in the class. So we have a person. Let's simplify, well, we won't simplify it. We copy the person class, and now we can create the list, and we can, as you can see here, we have a person class, the base class, and then we have a student class, and then we create a student object as long as we import the student class. So from file student import student class, that's what that means. Let's check our syntax. Syntax is good. Now we can print an object from the students list, so students, and let's print the student at ID 6. And the important thing here is that we can get a reference to the student's class, and then we can print first name. Why does this work? Well, this is the same as getting a reference to a student class. Now we have one student right here. Now we can do student.firstName, student.lastName. We can print that to the screen, and we get Peggy Justice. This is data collection of students, and we pass in the key 5. The interpreter returns one student. We save it in a variable, and now we can get the attributes, which can be first name, last name, student ID, or enroll date. Now, thus far we've not iterated through a list. Let's see how we would do that. We can do for key in students print key, and then we can get the object at that key. Let's see what it produces for us. So as you can see, it prints the key 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. However, it's only printing the memory address. If we want to print the student name, as we saw earlier, we must do this. We'll just print the first name. Now we get what we expect. 1 Carson, 2 Meredith, 3 Arturo, 4 Jaides, and so forth and so forth. If we can do that with objects, we can most certainly do that with the examples that we've been going over. I think one example we created was persons, and we'll create random names. They don't have to be the same. And we can iterate by using for key in persons, print persons of key, and since this is a string, we can print the character John and Mary simply by saying from the persons collection, give me the item at key. The first loop is gonna send us one key, the second another key. Let's run this. So John and Mary, as expected. Print it one more time. So it prints John and Mary, this piece. Now we can also clear a dictionary. For example, if we say persons.clear, the dictionary is cleared and it doesn't print any persons. We can also use the items, persons.items function, and this returns a reference to the key and the value. And we can do this. We can print the key and we can print the value. Notice that now we don't have to index the data collection with a key. Instead, the interpreter returns the value in this value variable. And we can still print the key and John and 2 and Mary. We can also print the keys by themselves. So for key, and this will print only the key. And if we can do the keys, we can most certainly do the values, and we can print the values. This should print the name only, and it does. Python allows us a lot of flexibility. We can also print persons by using the get method, and we send it a valid key. In this case, we should see Mary, print it, and it does print Mary. One other thing we can do is modify a value. How do we do that? Well, we get a reference to an object, and for example here, let's say for example that we want to modify student number 1. So we create a student variable, we reference the student collection with key 1. Now we have this object student 1, and we can say student dot first name equals new name, and we print the students at object 1, specifically their first name, and let's see what happens. And as expected, their name is new name. That's how we're able to modify a value in an object. We can also do the same thing to strings. We have this dictionary, and we want to modify Mary's name to let me see here. We have to do it this way. Persons of 1 equals Joe, and then print persons of 1. And we run it, and as expected, their name is now Joe. That's how we would modify a value. I know this has been a brief and very quick overview of using dictionaries. However, this should at least give you the fundamentals and a good idea on how you can use dictionaries in the Python language.